New developments now in one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. The Texas police chief, criticized for his response to the Uvalde massacre, is now defending his response. The school district police chief, Pete Arredondo, has now commented that he did not consider himself the incident commander. He told the Texas Tribune he assumed someone else had taken control of the law enforcement response. Well, that response has come under intense scrutiny as the gunman, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, spent roughly 80 minutes inside Robb Elementary School, killing 19 children and 2 teachers that day. More than an hour passed from when the first officers followed Ramos into the building to when he was ultimately killed, according to the official timeline. Meanwhile, parents outside begged police to rush in, and panicked children called 911. Well, now Attorney General Merrick Garland announced earlier this week that the Justice Department is investigating the law enforcement response.
There is nothing that we can do that can undo the pain borne both by the survivors, families of the victims, and the community and the country. But the independence and transparency and expertise of the Justice Department can go a long way toward assessing what happened in Uvalde with respect to the law enforcement response and to giving guidance for the future.
Now, earlier this week, survivors also testified about the horror that they experienced that day. Among the most heart-wrenching was a 4th grader who described how her own teacher backed into a classroom, the gunman followed, and how she did the only thing she could think of to survive. She played dead.
We went to go hide behind my teacher's desk and behind the backpacks, and then he shot the little window, and then he went to the other classroom, and then he went, there's a door between our classrooms, and he went to there and shot my teacher and told my teacher good night and shot her in the head. And then he shot some of my classmates and the whiteboard. When I went to the backpacks, he shot my friend that was next to me, and I thought he was gonna come back to the room, so I grabbed the blood and put it all over me. And
what did you do then when you put the blood on yourself?
Just stay quiet, and then I got my teacher's phone and called 911.
Okay, I want to bring in once again former prosecutor, criminal defense attorney, host of the Diva Court podcast, Marcia Minot, joining us in Atlanta. I mean, Marcia, it is just so heartbreaking to listen to that little girl that she had to resort to covering herself in blood just to survive the blood of you know, her friends and the people she was in the classroom with at that time. And understandably so, these parents, this community wants answers. Why wasn't law enforcement there faster? Why didn't they respond faster? What do you think of this police chief's response?
This is painstaking to watch, the minor child, and you are hopeful that they're going to make sure she's getting counseling for this traumatic experience. But the police chiefs and all the individuals in law enforcement involved, I don't think there's any excuse for this. There has to be full transparency, and they're going to have to take actions to make sure that this never happens again in the future. It is mind-boggling that they were there for an hour before anybody intervened to make sure that survivors were treated. I think rumors are that they were waiting on body armor. You cannot wait on body armor, and that was not their training. They were supposed to go in and stop the threat. And in this situation, their failure to act resulted in the death of 21 individuals.
It's really so heartbreaking and tragic. And, you know, those congressional hearings earlier this week got very emotional. There are growing calls for gun control. We heard from actor Matthew McConaughey, who's actually a resident of the area, a native of that area as well, and he got very emotional. Let's listen to him testifying at that White House briefing.
We start right now by voting to pass policies that can keep us from having as many Columbine, Sandy Hooks, Parklands, Las Vegases, Buffaloes, and Uvaldes from here on. We start by giving Alethea a chance to be spoiled by her dad. Start by giving Mayday a chance to become a marine biologist. Start by giving Ellie a chance to read her Bible verse at the Wednesday night service. Start by giving Irma and Joe a chance to finish painting their house. Maybe retire, get that food truck. We start by giving McKenna, Layla, Miranda, Nevaeh, Jose, Javier, Tess, Rogelio, Eliana, Annabelle, Jackie, Azuya, JC, Jayla, Ava, Amory, and Lexi. We start by giving all of them our promise that their dreams are not going to be forgotten. We start by making the loss of these lives matter.
Marcia, I mean, you know, when he starts listing off those names and really humanizing these victims, it's not just numbers, it's not just 21 victims, they're human beings who lost their lives and their hopes and dreams along with it. Did you think it was really an effective plea for gun control?
I think it was effective. And the reason it was is because he has the star power and the platform to be able to be passionate and to make sure he sounds the alarm and to keep it up, not to just sit back and relax and hope that something gets done. I think individuals are not going to give up after Sandy Hook and all the other shootings where they think that something was going to happen and legislation was going to be passed. I don't think that this is going to be the same. It's not going to be business as usual because it's so heart-wrenching what has happened. We're talking about elementary students now. We're not talking about high school students. Not that high school students' lives are any less valuable, but we've got to do something. An 8-year-old does not have the emotional wherewithal. An 18-year-old does not have the emotional wherewithal to make their own beds sometimes. Why do they need the firepower of an AR-15? They need to raise the age.
It's just horrific what happened here. And, you know, Matthew McConaughey's wife, Camila Alves McConaughey, was also present at that White House briefing, and she brought along these green sneakers, which were apparently the only thing that identified one little girl who lost her life. I mean, the scene was so horrific and so bloody that it was the green sneakers that they used to identify that she was a victim here. Do you think that these kind of emotional elements here, these kind of keepsakes, these sentimental items really play an important role in driving home the importance of the kind of reforms that you've even called for?
I think it does, because I don't think that the general population understands that you're not trying to take away someone's guns. You're trying to make sure that they're only in the hands of responsible citizens who do not have mental illnesses. And in order to do that, we're going to have to put legislation in place so that it prevents incidents such as this from happening again in the future. Safe gun laws.
And it sounds like mental health, you believe, should be an element of reform as well.
Absolutely. As doing criminal defense work, there are many occasions that I come upon a client where I can tell from just regular interaction with that client that something is going on. And the onus is on me as defense counsel to file the motion, to have the person psychologically evaluated. Put the onus on family members, because in this situation, there are allegations that the grandmother saw acts based on this young man's conduct that she found suspect. And if that was treated, or she had an outlet or someone she could contact, we could have prevented this young man from accessing weapons.
That's an excellent point. Thank you so much, Marcia Minot, for your insight and analysis as always.